Alright, let's do a local recording as well, and we are going to dive into another game. This one, okay, here we go. Let's take it in 3, 2, 1, and hello and welcome to another StarCraft 2 match. This is Alex the Lion, and I am going to be casting an IPL 3 replay for the IPL 5 casting call submission, or as my IPL 5 casting call submission. So I hope you enjoy this replay and you have not seen it on everyone else's stream prior to this, but I am going to be casting it. In the top right as the blue Zerg, it is none other than the Super Gosu 16-year-old boss, FXOLeenock. He is, as I mentioned, 16 years old, Korean, on the team FXO, and he is a very, very talented Zerg player. In the bottom left, it is not Startail Legend. It is actually STParting, the red Protoss player from the same team as Legend. However, Parting is not legendary for his StarCraft observing. He is actually legendary for his Protoss play and his insane micro, so hopefully we will be able to see a little bit of both in this, as maybe I can do a good job commentating. Not that Legend commentates, but Legend does an insanely good job of spectating, and I will do my best. I'll give you these close-ups and stuff, guys. This is on GSL Daybreak, or MLG Daybreak. I actually didn't get a good look at the map. It is on Daybreak, suffice to say. One of the really cool things about Daybreak is the sun will actually rise and set. Take a look at the map now. You see it's kind of dark out. Wait, the day is breaking. In a couple minutes, you will notice that the sun does come up in the background. It is a really cool effect. Nothing too crazy going on right now for either player. This is like we're going to see Parting go for a Nexus first at his front. That's pretty standard for Daybreak. I mean, it is a greedy build, but you can get away with it because Daybreak is a pretty big map. Leenock, on the other hand, is grabbing that that spawning pool first, because you pretty much have to do that as a Zerg player on this or in any Protoss matchup. Otherwise, they're just going to cannon your natural, and there's actually nothing you can do about it. And we see he's going to grab a super fast natural right around the time the spawning pool finishes, so that if Parting decided to go for a cannon rush, he could actually clean it up with Zerglings before it got going. Parting, on the other hand, is not going to do that. He does not even have a probe on that side of the map. He's just sending a scout out now, and that is completely acceptable for a map like this. I mean, if we look at Leenock's base, there's actually nothing in it to scout right now. It's big shocker, Zerg grabbed a spawning pool. The only real thing that Parting needs to be careful about with that late scout is for some sort of roachling all in, and I would, you don't really expect to see that on the map like Daybreak just because it's so far away that you might still have time to actually throw down some cannons and deal with it. We see Leenock knows that there was a Nexus first, immediately throws down his third base because it's not like Parting is going to be able to put any pressure on him, as Parting is just getting his cybernetics core up, has not even made a zealot yet, and he's grabbed 2 gases in his main. So this is actually looking pretty standard all around. The big question now is going to be, will the probe survive? And it looks like the answer is going to be yes. One more hit from the Zerglings. Oh, they do get the probe, taking only a single shot from the cannon, so no Zerglings go down. Nicely done by Leenock there, just getting that little edge. If Parting wants to send another probe out, I believe he has a hole in his wall here, so it won't be a huge deal for him to do that. Actually, interesting little subtlety in Parting's play there. He had a zealot in production, likely to be able to deny those Zerglings access to his base, and then as soon as they ran away, he canceled that and started building a stalker. So really cool play by Parting there. Just very, very quick and very responsive to what he sees going on in the game. Leenock getting the creep spread going. All of this still off of just 1 gas. That gas definitely doesn't have 2400 gas in it. That might be a little glitch or something. If this was actually the amount of gas he had left remaining in that extractor, he would not be able to afford Zergling speed. So that is kind of a little scouting tip, pro scouting tip. Actually, it's more of an amateur scouting tip. I would not go so far to call myself as pro. Stalker moving out on the map, just going to clean up this tower, make sure there's nothing crazy coming in for him. Leenock has done an excellent job of just hiding his overlords around the map, and he's going to send that 6-minute and 30-second overlord into Parting's base to try and see what tech structures are going down. Parting, however, is a sneaky sneak, and he is powering 4 gateways off of 1 pylon in the back of his base beautifully. That's a really that is both really nice building positioning and really questionable building positioning. However, it's not like you're going to get marine dropped by Leenock, so you can probably get away with it. Nice pylon placement here too, behind that sort of gassy wall. Makes it that much more difficult for Leenock to scout. If he does poke up here and sees, actually this is beautiful, 1 on the high ground, 1 behind the gas, actually force, in order for Leenock to scout both of these pylons, he's going to have to go in and scout literally both of the pylons. Leenock, however, knows his timings and knows his hiding spot, so he's going to check the high ground. We'll see if he decides to check the low ground as well. He has a roach warren coming up. How many gates are now up for parting? This is the big question. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the main. We already talked about that. 1 at the front. We already knew about that. And 2 more in the natural, and that means there are 7 gates in total if I did my math correctly. 3 plus 4 is in fact 7, so a ton of zealots are going to be warped in, but there are 8 roaches in production and speed is done. Oh my goodness, the sentries are going to get caught out in the open. What a beautiful force field by Parting. That is actually the most insane thing I think I'm going to see all day. Parting with 2 sentries, completely surrounded with zerglings, just 1, 2, 3, force fields his sentries into a little box that the zerglings cannot touch. That was insane. These roaches are going to come and try to clean up his pylon, but that's a lot of sentries, and he has to be really careful he doesn't lose them. 2 roaches do get caught out. Leenock has to be really careful here because he just lost all of those zerglings for free because of those insane force fields from Parting. I was about to say Parting does not look good because Leenock had all those zerglings, he had the roaches, and then he got his sentries caught in the open, and then complete reversal. Boom, boom, boom. There are the force fields. All of your zerglings are belong to Parting, and Leenock is left with this awkward roach-only, slow roach-only army composition. He's going to try a bit of a run-by, and this is nice. He's going to get through because there's actually just nothing Parting can do to get back there. A couple zerglings in the natural might force Parting to come back. I doubt he's probably just going to do some warp-ins. 2 stalkers will clean it up. Leenock super, super active with his zerglings. Going to run into the main, get 1 more probe. No, not going to get that probe. Keep running into the main. 2 zealots already in the mineral line, and his gates are powered, but actually they're not powered by his other pylons. I thought he would throw more pylons down here so that he can be powered by more stuff. These roaches do manage to clean up that pylon, so insane scouting by Leenock. Actually Parting, being a sneaky sneak Protoss again, throws up another pylon. I call him a sneaky snake. It's not that he's sneaky or snaky or evil in any way. He is actually just a very good Protoss player, and you've got to be sneaky with those pylon placements. Otherwise, it can turn around to bite you. We do see that the robo facility is up, the observer's on the way, but after losing those 2 pylons, he's a little bit of supply blocked, and that is completely fine. He's going to grab his 3rd. That was a good try for pressure by Parting, and I really like the fact that he said, well, I got in, I tried to pressure. That engagement went about as well as it could have for me, but really, I can't put any pressure on Leenock right now. Like, he is saturated. Well, he's not quite saturated yet, only 61 drones. Normally you want to see, as my homeboy Tempo would say, 82 drones on 3 bases. But Parting wishes Protoss still had stasis, man. But he is going to... It is good that he backed off because Leenock could turn out roachling all day and just deal with any sort of gateway push from top. So Parting is going to go back, still going to warp in gateway units because it's actually pretty important to keep building an army in StarCraft 2. This is really one of those games, if you stop your army production, you pretty much die. Leenock looks like he recognizes that and is going to try to put the pressure on, but Parting has a ton of sentries. This is a small choke. Actually, Leenock getting a little too aggressive again, gets his roaches cut in half, and Parting is going to be able to clean up a lot of these roaches, and there's not enough roaches down here to be any sort of threat to Parting, so Leenock is going to have to back off. Aggression thwarted. And that is a really good job by Parting. Oftentimes, you see these Protoss players go for a big 2-base play. It gets shut down like Leenock did there, and then they just kind of die to the Zerg's next pressure. Leenock, on the other hand, not quite able to even kill the rocks at the front because Parting did such a good job of cutting those roaches up. He's so good with that gateway micro. And actually, okay, I thought those were High Templar there. I was going to say, I missed High Templar. No way. Leenock does come back with his roaches, commits a few roaches to be able to knock the rocks down. I like that. That really opens up the choke, and it's not like he can't remake those anyway. Actually, he's just rallying a ton of stuff to the front, so we're going to see Leenock make a big attack, and it's worth mentioning this isn't an all-in. He did grab a 4th base behind it. He is Leenock. We'll bring the production tab back up. Baneling Nest on the way. +1 flyer attacks because Leenock is Gosu. This is Daybreak, and he is getting Aspire. Roaches have those counter claws, so they're going to be able to deal with these force fields a lot better. Sorry I had the production tab closed for so long. Kind of flying this game a little bit in the dark. Leenock is way up his butt. Oh my goodness! Party's force fields are on another level! There's a tiny hole between the Zerglings running in and the Roaches. Parting snipes it with force fields and says, I'm just going to kill your Zerglings. And now you have that awkward Roach-only composition without the Ling support that really doesn't deal with gateway units as well when I have this many Stalkers and an Immortal in my composition. What Parting doesn't know, or I'm sure he knows, I'm sure he has some inkling of it, is that there are mutas flying into his main. Actually, he has more than an inkling of it. He is completely aware of it. He's got 3 cannons and a big round of Stalker Warpins to be able to deal with that. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of tech Parting decides to go for to deal with it. It looks like it's going to be the Templar Archives. That leads me to believe he's going into High Templar for Storm or Archon and Storm against the Mutalisks, and I would say that is one of the only really solid answers that Protosses can have to a big Muta play by Zerg, especially on a map like Daybreak. Daybreak is the quintessential Mutalisk versus Protoss map because their bases are so spread out. Very difficult. Wow! More force fields by Parting. Not a complete wall, which is actually better because it creates a little bit of, it creates a massive choke right there that the Zerglings will clump up on the way through. If there was an Archon in that composition, it is actually one-shotting clumps of Lings all the time. Leenock commits, he runs into the base, nice blink out by Parting, but this is a huge Zergy force and he's going to be able to run in and wreak havoc in Protoss's main. He's going to target down those Templar Archives. Leenock so good, set that Overseer in there, saw the Templar Archives around the way and went, oh, you're going to be able to deal with my Mutalisks with that, eh? No, I'm going to kill it. And immediately we see Parting trying to build another one, I'm not sure where. And this is what I'm talking about, the Mutas just, the army's pinned down here, so the Mutas fly up to the 3rd, and they're going to clean out Pros all day. We'll bring up the Workers Lost tab after this battle. Parting did get a big round of High Templar Warpins. They're not going to have Storm, so he's going to try to keep them hidden, but he has to be so careful with those. If the Mutas get in and kill them off, that's so much gas loss, and then he won't be able to get the Archons up, and that would just be terrible for Parting. Leenock, on the other hand, he's on 4 bases. I am sure he's got his drone count up. We'll take a quick peek. There you go, 74 drones. You actually don't quite need 82. 74 is a perfectly acceptable number of drones to be doing this kind of play off of, and Leenock has it. He's going to run and keep poking with these Mutalisks. He's making a couple more because his Mutas are actually pretty injured. There's only 11 of them down here, or are there even 11? No, they're on yeah, there's only 11 of them down there. One of the nice things you see about Leenock's doing is he's keeping his Mutas back in the bottom left in that sort of corner behind the bases, and he isn't just rallying these other Mutas through the Stalkers, through the cannons, into them. It's not like, oh, here's a bunch of free Mutas, oh, here's some more free Mutas. Mutas are expensive. You actually can't afford to do that, but we see a whole bunch of Banelings coming up. I have to wonder, as Zerg, if it's really a good idea to go for a big Baneling play against someone like Parting. Just because his Sentry Micro is so good, he could nullify. I feel like he's the kind of player that will nullify any sort of Baneling play by Zerg. But when you're going for such a big High Templar play, Banelings can be a very, very effective way to just get in there and kill. Banelings are also an excellent way for Zerg to get an even more scary army once they hit that max, which Leenock is. He is actually going to commit with his Mutas here, losing a couple of them. I assume he's freeing up supply for something. He actually didn't target down the sentries, but some of the sentries out of position, so Leenock goes in with the Banelings into the Blink Stalkers who have already belonged, and gets a couple of them. I don't know how cost effective that was. And we actually see Parting coming out of this with a bit of a supply lead. Never mind, Leenock just made 27 Roaches, and it's worth mentioning Pathogen Gland's almost done. No Infestors on the way yet, though, but Hive is almost finished, so we'll see if Leenock decides to tech up to that Ever-Gosu Broodlord composition, Broodlord Infestor that Protosses have such a hard time dealing with. You want to get Storm, you want to get Archons, that's fine. If you don't have Mama Ship, you're not dealing with a big Broodlord play from someone like Leenock. And there is not even a Stargate on the map with Parting, so I really like this decision by Leenock to go for this style of play. That's actually one of the interesting things with the Phoenix range. Some people were talking about it. They were saying, oh, Protoss should just get better High Templar, or High Templar should be buffed to be able to deal with things better. But the reality is, if you go for this High Templar route, you can be very vulnerable to the Greater Spire, which we see is on the way. Warp Prism coming in for parting. I don't know what he's going to do with that. Likely, he's got his observers flying around the map. I really like that. Likely, he's just going to use that to get in and try and use some counterattacks. Oh, Bailey's almost connecting with probes there. These roaches are targeting the cannon. There's High Templar walking by. Oh, Leenock, if only you weren't denying. If only you weren't killing Protoss's Nexus. Oh, I can't believe he didn't turn around and finish that off. But it would have meant a lot more of his roaches actually getting trapped by the stalkers, so maybe it's always tough to make these decisions, split-second decisions. Leenock made the decision to save his roaches. It may or may not have been the right one. We will find out later. Parting is trying to expand. If Parting loses this Nexus, he loses. I don't know if you can necessarily say he loses the game, but he certainly comes close to it. And one of the big advantages for Leenock about having the Nexus so low is that now Parting has to keep his army at this top base for a little while. The mutas are free to swing around down here, though there are, how many cannons? That is 7 cannons. So Leenock going for this muta style play has forced a ton of minerals to be spent in just about every base of Parting to try to keep himself safe from them. Meanwhile, Leenock has been able to just expand casually to this middle base. Unfortunately, the middle base only has 1 gas geyser, and that's really what you're after as Zerg when you're going for these giant muta plays. Actually, it looks like the Warp Trigger needs to sink its way in here. Actually, it's just over there, but he did drop a bunch of Zealots off. I said I was going to bring up the Workers Kill tab. I didn't. Let's do it. We take a look at 6 to 24, so a lot of workers have been killed by Leenock in this game with his muta play. I don't know if Parting actually got the scout off on these Broodlords. I can assume he did because he's been so active with his observers in this game, and the Broodlords taking the fastest path and just going to knock these rocks down. You can see +2 attack on the needle claws of the Broodlings. They're running in. Parting kind of moving his army around. He doesn't really know where Leenock is at. Nice blink. Actually, Parting's army is a little bit split up. He's got to be so careful. Storming on the Broodlords. Leenock, however, bringing his queens with him. Big Blink Stalker counterattack. That is so cool. This is so cool. Blink Stalkers are so mobile that Parting can just run in and kill Leenock right now. Leenock does not have the mobile army to deal with it. Yeah, the Bailings are mobile, but are they mobile enough? Parting split up his Stalkers to be able to deal with this. Oh no, they're on move command. Very often, and you can see the Broodlords had to come back while the other army supporting them retreated to deal with counterattack by Parting. The real question is Parting, does he have enough units to deal with and push after his counter, after this sort of run by? Because dealing economic damage to the Zerg is all well and fine, but you will eventually have to deal with this death ball of Broodlords, and if you give up all of your anti-air stalkers, then you may have a hard time doing it. However, what I was about to say before I interrupted myself is that oftentimes you'll see many Zergs under that ideal circumstance. When they go Broodlords, they'll have a giant spine force to be able to shut down all sorts of stalker run-bys. You see Leenock starting it down here, but he doesn't quite have it up yet. He's being so efficient with the movement paths of these Broodlords. I mean, yeah, they're getting kind of pumpkin, but these Broodlords are able to kind of swing around the bottom, take advantage of the fact that they are a flying unit, and cut across, and actually these Broodlords have had presence in all 3 of the lanes on Daybreak, and that is so cool to see Leenock doing this. He's really taking advantage of the map in this department. Stalkers blink on top of the Queens, blink on top of the Infestors. They catch Leenock just a little bit out of position. Nice catch by Parting. He gets all of Leenock's spellcasting units. There are only 2 Infestors remaining that were up at the front, so Leenock has to be so careful. His Broodlords are not going to be able to get transfused, and if Parting does decide to blink under them, Leenock only really has 1 or 2 fungals to be able to shut them down, and that may or may not be enough. Parting goes for another counting attack. However, there is a bit of a spine forest here to deal with it. This base gets shut down by Leenock. You can see Parting running a little low on minerals. He's got that 3rd Nexus that the shields are almost back up, and that's going to die pretty fast. He does have a 5th Nexus at the top, which is super good for him. His
His stalkers are going to blink their way behind the mineral patches, get bungled, and get cleaned up by roaches. You can see Leenock just being everywhere on this map, and that's so cool. But in all of this chaos, I completely missed Parting. Not only did he get a Stargate, he got a Fleet Bacon, Fleet Vegan, Fleet Bacon. It's tasty. He has a mothership on the way, and that is insane. +2 flyer attack and +3 melee attack coming up for Zerg. So these Broodlords are going to be so powerful. That single Void Ray is the last thing any Zerg player wants to see when he has Broodlords in his opponent's face. Looks like the Blinkstalkers are able to shut down the Zerg army from Leenock. However, Corruptors come in. That's going to clean up the Void Ray, which has 3 Broodlord kills. That's such a cost-effective Void Ray. This Void Ray, is it going to be able to get this last Broodlord? Yes, he gets 1. Doesn't quite get 2, but hey, a Void Ray for a Broodlord, man. That's a pretty good trade. You can see Parting committing to this counterattack. We have a base race on our hands. Spine Force not going to be enough. He feed back the Infestor. That's so nice. Parting is such a boss. We have these Broodlords still being able to put pressure on, and the Infestors are down to deal with them. Except Leenock is losing his base, and Leenock lost his bottom base already. I thought that was the Warp Prism for a second. I was going to say that Warp Prism, man. 5 more Infestors on the way for Leenock, but Leenock has no mining. Leenock has absolutely no mining, and Parting still has his base at the top. Yeah, it's hardly saturated, but it's mining, and that is so much more than Leenock has right now. Leenock has no bank. Leenock is literally stuck long distance mining. I don't even know how many drones he has. We'll take a look. He only has 28 drones. So this is Leenock. Leenock has this army. He's got this queen. He's got these Broodlords. He's got these Corruptors, and he has a couple Infestors. He's got everything rallying into this. Leenock is effectively all in, but he has such a hard army to deal with. Parting only has a couple Blinkstalkers. Yeah, they've got +3 attack and +2 armor, but Leenock has +2 flyer attack and +3. Okay, it doesn't show on the probes. Leenock has +2 flyer attack, and you can take a look at it on the Broodlings. I believe +3 needle claws on them Broodlings. So these Broodlings are dealing 7 damage. These Broodlings are dealing more damage than Speedlings with unupgraded Speedlings. So you can think of these. You can actually think of all of these Broodlings as Zerglings in the early game, just chewing their way through Protost's base. He is losing all of his tech. He has a Dark Shrine coming in. Oh my goodness. Clutch DT decision by Parting. He's going to run through and clean up all of Zerg's tech. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the base race. There are 3 drones killing the pylon, because you know what? That pylon might become critical. There are probes scattering themselves around the map. Actually, that's an observer, and that's an observer. But the point is, there are probes and a mothership out on this map. The mothership's mass recall could be the most important ability in this game when it comes to determining a base race. And we see Parting a supply block. Leenock, hey man, Leenock has 53 minerals and I believe he has no larvae. He has 7 larvae. He could make a drone. He should probably make it. No, I don't get it. He needs to keep that in order to throw down 2 extractors wherever he needs them. We see Parting finally getting everything in his main base cleaned up. FXOLeenock has not rebuilt their base and is being revealed. Parting can now see all of Leenock's bases. He sees just a couple extractors over here. Leenock, you got to build something else. Leenock has an extractor in Parting's base. He doesn't kill these gateways off. I don't know. That might be really important. Leenock's army is so slow and not that mobile that he really needs to be active and cleaning up all of these bases. But I think it's good. Parting is satisfied with the damage he's dealt. He needs to get back to defend his mining base, because if Leenock takes out his only mining base, that would be huge. Leenock actually pulling back. I don't know how I feel about this. You can see he being, well, maybe not being a little incisive. He's going to try to chase down Parting's army. The mothership isn't that mobile, but, nice feedback on the Infestor, just killing it outright because they have 200 energy and 90 hit points. Leenock runs his drones in to try and take damage. Beautiful Vortex by Parting, and he gets absolutely everything. Leenock dives into that Vortex for protection, but there are Archons on the map. There are High Templar that are going to be able to storm anything that comes out of there. One Queen kind of chilling at the back. Are we going to see some transfusions go down? No, there's the storm. There's a couple transfusions. There's the feedback, and there's the GG or the WW from Leenock. What a beautiful play by Parting, just absolutely shutting down everything by Leenock. This game is insane when you think about it. Leenock has no base, and Parting's base, it didn't start up here. Parting's base started down here. Ironically enough, the only thing left in the base were these little gateways that I said he sneaky snaked down at the bottom,
And I thought for sure these gateways were going to get unpowered. They actually, I mean, hey, they're unpowered now, but they actually played no relevance in the game. So really cool building placement by Parting, really cool game, and you can see he's such a boss, man. He's expanding into Leenock's 4th base. That's such a good area. You look at this mobility of the Broodlords, you're up in this top, you're going to come down here. I do not think so. So really well played by Parting, and he did an excellent job to take this game off Leenock. GG is right. And that is going to be it. I hope you enjoyed the cast.